Okay, so I haven't done it for this session, but when I uploaded my last one to YouTube, I got like a copyright notice on that VOD for the. It was just a copyright claim. It wasn't a strike or anything, but for some of the music, for some reason, I guess it's not, or maybe it's just in YouTube's index or something because of reasons. Point here is that in the future, I intend to have my own playlist of some other video game music going. And hopefully that will not get dinged for copyright, but I don't necessarily make a ton of guarantees to myself or anyone else. I'm just very hopeful, that's all. Well, we'll worry about that more in the future, won't we? For now, today, we are looking for one more thing to remove from the deck for that card that I just put in. Because our goal here is that we want to go and, well, keep going, really. Whatever we can do. I don't feel like I need Burnished Heart in the deck that much. I mean, it's ramp, but also doesn't seem that strong compared to some of the other options here. Actually, I'm gonna dump the bacon to a pie. I don't think it's that. We have plenty of removal in the deck. Hopefully I won't be feeling like I missed out on that one, but say for sure. As I get ambushed by this Falcon-headed Aven, yeah, whatever you want me to believe that to be. I'll take the play, and I will draw a one-land hand. That is rather unfortunate. I'll take a mulligan. And I get to tuck one card, which in this case, I don't think Ob Nixilis is going to be as helpful as all that. I mean, hey, it's a multicolor, it's a big, strong card, but I can do much better than that. Activate that and play Changeling Outcast. Yep, so I get to scry 1, and I'm going to leave the command tower on top of my library here. Because this thing is Changeling, so it's all creature types. Which is almost helpful. Honestly, I probably don't need that up there. I don't know why I did that. That might have been a bit of a mistake, but that's okay. Now we really won't have to worry about that. And unfortunately, my creature's been given Defender, so it can no longer attack, which is the only thing it's capable of doing, so that's a problem. Autopay. And that's going to the bottom for sure this time. Autopay for the Silver Smoke Ghoul. And I get no combat phase because of reasons we've already gotten into. Aven Riftwatcher. It's 2/3 with Vanishing 3. When it enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Alright. Good to know, I guess. Play this and drop Fairy Dream Thief. I will throw that out, actually. It's not completely without uses, but they are not very many for me, that's for sure. And yeah, these two just sort of trade, which is fine because it gives me an excuse to get the other creature through. I'll block because it being dead is almost more useful. Oh, right, because, yeah, Timura is an enchantment, so he dead. Yeah, go to the command zone, buddy. As instead we get Yargle. And then just auto pay the rest of that. Unfortunately, I can't play Timurit right now, but that's just sort of the way it goes. Swing this guy in, and as you say, he's likely to block with the even Cloud Chaser. Damage. And he leaves that thing untapped. Okay. Gotcha. Alright. Auto pay. Swamp can go to the bottom. And auto pay that again. Play the Prismatic Lens. Unfortunately, I cannot activate this because I'm 1 mana off, but that is just sort of how it goes sometimes. We'll swing with these two. And he will block Yargle with... Oh, he's blocking with both creatures. Okay, so... Let's do that. That's fine. That's a fair trade, actually. And the Rift Watcher is gone, which leaves us completely completely open to do this. And main phase 2, we will start out by doing this. Oh yeah, Thought Vessel is a... I'm being dumb, sorry. I keep forgetting that Thought Vessel adds multiple mana, adds 1 mana rather. Yep, let's get our Yargle back to hand and pass our turn. He plays Aven Battle Priest. 6 mana for a 3/3 that just gains you 3 life when it enters. That's pretty mediocre. That's pretty underwhelming, you know? Not an impressive card at all. Right, go to combat. This. And he blocks Timurit instead and takes the 6 damage. So we will autoplay our Yargle. And on top of that, sack Silver Smoke Ghoul. And we draw a land. That's... Oh, did we... We already have one of those that we played this turn. I had forgotten already. And yeah, he plays another one of those. Okay. Auto pay for Banewood Punisher. And mark that thing for a little bit of buff there. And go ahead and blow that up. And then we move to combat and we swing in like this. He's basically going to have to block Yargle, which is completely fine. Now, unfortunately, it's kind of not prudent for me to sack Yargle in response as much as I would love to get a card out of it. But I need it to actually be able to kill that creature for the next few turns. Otherwise, that could be a problem. Gifted Aetherborn is a pretty nice thing to pick up here. And I guess I'll just move to next turn here. Windbrisk Raptor. Attacking creatures neutral have lifelink. I get you. I see what you're doing now. Okay. What's happening here, though, is that I'm not drawing any cards again. Well, that's very unfortunate. I could really use a... That's just a land. That is not what I could use. Swing with this guy, and he will just take the damage. Unfortunately, I have nothing with flying. What am I thinking? I should be sacking that guy. I should have done that years ago, pretty much. I didn't think about that at the time. So, Hero's Downfall. We'll target that guy and auto-pay it. And that's a passive ability that, yeah, attacking creatures you control have lifelink. It doesn't give them lifelink until end of turn or anything stupid like that, so... Yeah, he's just kind of not getting anywhere with that. Alright, swing in. I get some life back, and I pay the 6 mana that it costs for that. Well, I mean, hey, sometimes you just gotta replay this dude several times. Even Watcher, whatever, dude. Player Burglar Rat. And you discard your last card, which is Love Song of Night and Day. You can target opponent. That's kind of unfortunate. I would actually have liked to be able to take advantage of that, but oh well. We'll do this. And he's triple blocking Timurit. Okay. I mean, sure, dude. You go ahead and do whatever the fuck you want. You massive goofball. Okay, well. Yeah, I'll pay 8 for my commander. I don't care. This is where we're at right now. Birds and soldiers. And of course, all is... Well, that guy's not a soldier. Indulgent Tormentor. Yes, that's a really strong card. Hell yeah. Finally. Finally something good. Finally some good fucking food. Play that now. I don't even care. Alright, swing Gifted Aetherborn in, and he blocks with Aven Brigadier. Yeah! Yeah, alright. You fucking idiot. I'm fine with that. So I'll activate Dockside Chef and sack the rat, because honestly, it's not doing anything for me right now. And I'll play Morbid Opportunist, and then pass turn. Alright, do you want to burn yourself, or sack a creature? Or just let me draw? He just lets me draw. Okay. Play Swamp. A Rotting Blight Priest. Gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. And once again, I'll activate Dockside Chef, sacking Brave Fella. Oh, right, that was the Morbid Opportunist trigger that did that. I was like, huh? What happened? Play Vindictive Vampire, and then Sad Robot. Go get a Swamp. And I'll swing in the Tormentor. That's fine. Trades, we take 2 life from him. And he goes back to the position. We're just gonna keep doing this, aren't we? You know what? Sure. Let me have Tim in a position where I can pay 10 mana for him if I feel like. I don't, but let me do it anyway. Yeah, just automate the order. It's fine. Yep, draw a card. That was a slog, but we got there. So that's good. That absolutely felt like... I mean, that guy did feel like he was pretty far away at the time, it felt like. Okay, so the one that's tracked is indeed the one that's up to the northern Arden's outpost location. I have a feeling this is going to be a not short trek. Just judging by the rate so far that this thing swings left or right as I move left or right. Sort of pendulum motion a little bit here. Will help me get a little bit of an idea as to where we are. That's it. That's probably it. Excellent. Everybody's freaking out here, but I guess don't use magic on them because they freak out about the existence of mages. Well, Courier's Briefcase. That's pretty alright. It is an artifact that has the treasure type as part of its... so it just has the treasure ability built into itself. Otherwise, it's... costs 1 and a green to create a 1/1. And in fact, you can pay Wooburg and sack it to draw 5 cards. Draw 3 cards. Not nearly as strong as what I was about to say. Oh god, is this because I didn't... I'm loading an autosave because apparently I forgot to save at the end of last time. So that was a little bit stupid of me, but this gives us a chance to have a bit of a look around at this stuff again. And see quite a lot of things that we just do not have the ability to use very much yet. A lot of enchantments there. The shop lets us trade mana shards for gold. This building is one that we can't use right now, I see. But let's see what the inn has. They've got a draft available. Okay. The cost of a gold coin, I mean, that's a little bit rough, but we'll take it. Take a shot. It's Return to Ravnica block draft. So I think I remember a little bit about RTR block. I don't necessarily know that that's going to pan out in the long run, but hey, let's give it a shot. Okay, so what's our first pick here? Desecration Demon is... I think I'm going to pick that up right away, even if it's not necessarily the best card anybody's ever seen there. Dark Revenant dies put on top of its owner's library. Roadkill Assassin. We can turn that into a bit more aggressive if we wish. Well, it is an evasive creature, but honestly, my pulls in this pack not so good. But we'll try that out. Terra Swarm. This could turn into something that turns one of our creatures into a bit of a bomb at the very end of the game there. If we're fortunate enough to have it, then. Rakdos Ring. It's a 6-drop for that? Ew. It's trash. Anyway, enjoy your lurk. Urban Burgeoning doesn't give us any more color, so... Yeah, we're already hitting the dregs here a little bit. This would be nice to have, but... Depends, do you want to draft to win, or do you want to draft to future? And the answer here is that I am going to pick up Augur Spree instead. Grab Zanaketh Locust, I guess. Destroy the... Sure. I don't really know exactly what I'm doing with any of the crafts, so... Yeah. Grab that. Deviant Glee is pretty strong on paper. So we're back to our first pack, so I guess we're picking up that Green Pipe Vermin. As now we get to start picking up the junk. The junk. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to go through this at some point and be like, okay, what do I actually pull out of there to move to the sideboard? But if I decide to go a little bit more into red, that Rubble Belt Raiders could be quite good. So it's nice to see that as the foil. I'll pick it up. Razor Tip Whip. A little bit pricey to get started, but it's decent in this sort of environment, I think. Debtor's Pulpit is too expensive to start with, in my opinion. Take that. Ooh, shit. Madcap skills. I completely forgot that that was probably one I should be grabbing, especially if I want to lean red here. Which, as I've said before, Not a bad choice. Contaminated ground can cause some issues for somebody. Coerced confession, that's just usable in black, so with no need for any sort of qualification there. Just pick that up. I am leaning very heavily into the black if I'm able to, but getting some red stuff is also not a terrible choice. Okay, yeah, we've looped around now. Oh, hell yeah, they left me one of those. Yes. Skullcrack also, that's pretty solid. Okay, so on to the Dragon's Maze packs, which... oh boy. I don't like what I'm seeing out of this first pack. This is kinda dog already. It's like nothing good in this pack whatsoever. I'll take Armed and Dangerous. We can activate Armed, so got that going for us. Unfortunately, Showstopper only allows you to target opposing creatures, but otherwise it would actually be good. So we'll take Toil and Trouble. And, ooh, a Sacred Foundry. I don't know that that's necessarily the real play here, but... that's removal. So I guess I'll take that, because we could definitely... ooh, another Toil and Trouble. That is a pretty decent card. Sinister Possession is not quite removal, but it definitely causes some problems for various creatures. Toxic. Life. I actually really like Carnage Gladiator just for that purpose. That's fun. And you can see we got another one of those. Armed is a very powerful combat trigger, so that's why I'm quite willing to take that. Take away. And we have looped around. So grab that. Showstopper's instant speed, so we can put that to use at least. Clear a path. Goes to the sideboard. All for the guilds can kind of be a game ender under the right circumstances. Grab the Dimir Guild Gate. Orc Burst. And one last Sinister Possession. Okay, so now I get to go back here and I get to go, what is leaving and what is staying? Is, yo, shoutouts to no 2 or 3 drop creatures, but I did not see a whole lot of anything in that area anyway, so to me that's like, well, yeah, I could do it. Dump those 2. They're not going to. Honestly, nor is that, because we are sticking to black and red here. Cobble Brute, remove Catacomb Slug. Powering Thunderfist is not really that good either, but I kind of want to keep it good. My number of creatures in this deck is pretty low, unfortunately. Oh, I didn't even see that search warrant there. That's not useful for us. Glee isn't that strong, unfortunately. That one, oh, that's far and away. I mean, that's actually kind of still useful as removal. Org Burst is a little bit trash, honestly. And Structural Collapse is too expensive to justify under any serious circumstance. Otherwise, though, we're at 30, and that's still too much. We'll go to 29, because we've only got 8 creatures in the deck. Hell yeah. This is going to be awful, is what it's going to be, but I digress. Yeah, Coerced Confession is not really good enough for what I'd like, fortunately. Destroy the Evidence, probably not going to come in handy. I'm actually going to pull these, because I don't know that they're going to end up pulling their weight. So, we're in a position where we're going to go and get ourselves to 15 lands. Which is way, way fewer than we should by any reasonable metric, but here we go. Where do I go to get more basics? There we go. I think we're a bit more red than we are black. So we'll go with this. And that will not have gone through. Okay. Whoops, because the button is over on the other side, which confuses me every time. Okay, let's do this, even though I know for a fact that our deck is not really as good as I would like it to be. But we're trying it anyway. Alright, so I'm going to gamble on that being the more important one for this guy. On some level, in theory, and he plays a Renegade Krasis. What? This thing, free to evolve. Ew. Not a big fan of that, but... Yep. So we'll hit that with a Sinister Possession, and... pass turn. And just keep burning yourself some more. Excellent. Unfortunately, slightly less excellent is the fact that what we drew was far and away. I really could have used another land. Obviously, we're targeting that guy, and he sacks the weaker creature. Which is ultimately kind of okay. I mean, if he's going to keep making bonehead plays like this, then by all means, I am here for this. Although that said, he did play an extort card, which makes the swamp a little bit less of a thing that we like to have on our side, but hey. Get to play that now, and we then get to play a Dark Revenant. And provided I live through this turn, which I should. I'm not going to block the Renegade Krasis. I'll take the 4. That's fine. Especially because even though we didn't draw a land here, we can still do Madcap Skills and just auto-pay that and swing in, and hooray! We actually won a game during a limited event. That's incredible. No deck changes. I'll keep this hand. Blind Obedience. Ew. That card sucks. But we will turn his Guild Gate into a Contaminated Ground. So that way, at least when he's paying disgusting amounts of mana for his extort effects, it should hurt him. Yeah, as he plays the Renegade Krasis again. Drawing that thing again right off the hop, huh? That's... that makes me a little unhappy, but hey. We'll drop Rubble Belt Raiders. Unfortunately, it drops tapped because of Blind Obedience. Wow, okay. I didn't see him tap that much mana. That's going to be quite painful. Yeah, 8 damage. 8 damage. Oof. You do not, under any circumstances, love to see that. Okay, yeah, so it's for each attacking creature, period, not just each other attacking creature. Swing for 7. And basically, provided this guy doesn't keep playing buff spells, I think I get this one. Oh, what's he doing? He's doing something that ended up killing him. Pretty good. All right, well, we won a round at an actual event, so hey, we might get something out of this, basically. I'm not really going to put it as a guarantee that I'll win the event, but it sure would be nice if we did. I'll keep this hand. Even with maybe no playmakers, It'll do. It will, in fact, suffice. Dropping his Godless Shrine tapped, so no turn 1 play for you, I guess. Playing your Daring Skyjack. It's a 3/1 that gains flying when it attacks alongside at least 2 other creatures. Well, alright then. That is perfectly fine. Because we still had that mugging in hand, so we could freely remove it. As he plays a Boros Mastiff. This is a 2/2 that gets lifelink when it's swinging in a group that big. Play the Rubble Belt Raider. Oh. Fuck you, dude. Well. That's alright. Just do this, and that should nicely even the field out a little bit here. And at end of turn, I'll Skullcrack. Yeah, under no circumstances did that last long, but that's perfectly fine. Got Carnage Gladiator. Tithe Drinker. This is a 2/1 with lifelink and extort. I get you. I won't bother with that. And he plays a Thrillkill Assassin. He cannot pay the extort. But he's got himself a 1/2 with Death Touch, huh? Alright. If you block set by 2 or more creatures. I can't cast Punish the Enemy this turn, unfortunately. Yeah, we'll make target player sack. And he dumped the creature I didn't want to throw out. Fuck. That annoys me greatly. Well... just take 4, I guess. And he does that to drop Hired Torturer. Okay. Alright. I need to take a look at what I'm going to do with this Punish the Enemy. And in fact, I think it's going to be... target him, and then I target a creature. Combat, swing with that thing. Say he could block with Haas the Snare Squad, and that's the only use it'll get out of that. But unfortunately, man. Yeah, like I said, I didn't think I was gonna actually win this one, but it's gonna do that for no good. Take the play, and I'll keep this hand. Really would prefer to have some swamps in there too, but hey. High Priest of Penance. And we'll just use that Razor Tip Whip to spend some mana until we're able to actually draw good cards. Sure, that thing. Oh, God, I dislike that very strongly. Non-land perm. Well, I'm going to lose the Razor Tip Whip, but this evens the positions for us. In time for him to play Millennial Gargoyle. Not to be confused with Millennium Gargoyle, that's something completely different. There we go. Finally drew another swamp so I can play Desecration Demon. Beginning of combat, he doesn't sack. I'm not blocking that thing. Is over Jailbreaker. It's a 4/4 that can actually attack this. Play that. Beginning of combat, you want to sack a creature? He does not feel like sacking it. Cause Desecration Demon to turn itself down. That's fine. Take the damage when it's available. I'll do that, I guess. Plays another Pirate Torch. Out grocery shopping. Well. Hope everything's going all right out there. Thank you very much, Around the Wheel. Activate Skull Cracks. That basically just makes that effect do nothing. So, pretty great. I'm gonna block that thing anyway, so casting Armed on it this turn is... But unfortunately, we're just kind of dead anyway, so we lost in our round 2. But I was gonna say, do we get a loser's bracket? We do not. That's okay. It's single elimination. We at least got some stuff out of it. We got a couple of gate crash boosters. Do we not get our pool from the event? Is that sent back? Disappointing if so. Yeah, but we can still take a look at this. And we can hold. First of all, well, this is something that we can actually play in there, but it's not really a card. Simic Guildgate, we get a couple of other stuff in there. We get an Extort creature. Those are fun. Our rare is a mythic. It's Death Pact Angel. It's an alright card. It can be revived through the token that it drops. But it's not super incredible. It's just like, yeah, that will do, I guess. Dying Wish. Unfortunately, it's power, not toughness. Otherwise, that could probably come in handy with our commander, the way he keeps getting recycled. Gruul Rage Beast. Whenever Gruul Rage Beast or another creature enters under your control, that creature fights target creature an opponent controls. Potentially, this can clear out a lot of creatures, but it also kind of may end up making your board kind of useless. Actually, see, I think selling those would probably be worth it because I see that I already have them. Unfortunately, there's not really a whole lot for us to get from this town. And we took a crack at the event and we did slightly better than you. Slightly. All of that considered, we're going out for a bit of an explore here. And being stopped by this Frost Titan. I thought it was a mummy, especially because we're in white zone. So it being a mummy would make a lot of sense, actually, with our usual things we have to deal with here. This, and start off by playing a swamp and play a commander's plate. Pretty typical turn 1 progression for us, which is great. And I'll play the Realm of Ko in order to have a slightly better swamp, basically. Dropping Timurit out there, because we can equip him with the Commander's Plate for a good bit cheaper than a regular creature. So now he's got protection from all colors that aren't black. Ooh, savor the moment. He takes an extra turn, but with no untap step. So really, at this point, that's kind of just a slightly spicier draw card. Oh, sure. Technically, you do also get an additional land drop, but that's still not that much. Drop our Novice Occultist here. And Zenith Chronicler. Oops. Looked out of the window by accident there. No, I can't pay for that, so cancel. Swing for 5. And you've got a pretty big creature there. I'll drop Sothira, just in case we start losing critters, which could happen. Icing Death, Frost Tyrant. Dies, great. Icing Death, Frost Tongue, a legendary white equipment artifact token. With equipped creature gets +2/+0 whenever equipped creature attacks. Tap target creature defending player controls and equip 2. I don't know D&D lore very well. I'm going to assume that that thing is quite formidable. Anyway, get some cards. How is this one all grayed out? What the hell? Get Tempest Drake. It's a very simple 2/2 with flying and vigilance for 3 mana. Yes, good old Mirage block, back when creatures were absolute dog shit. And nothing else was balanced. We saw this one. Marble Titan. This is a pretty beefy control-oriented creature. It's a 3/3 for 4. Creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap during their controller's untap steps. So yeah, it has Meekstone built into it. That is a pretty nice thing if you want to be very annoying. Ojutai's Breath just taps a creature for 2 turns, and it has Rebound. Okay. Crawling Felidar. It's 2/3 Cat Beast with Vigilance. Landfall, whenever a land you control enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. Fair. Topin Freeblade. A 2/2 with Vigilance and Renown 1. So the first time it deals combat damage to a player, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it. And becomes Renowned, which I don't think is really used for anything other than Renown abilities themselves. Oh, hey, look, another Tempest Drake. Well, take a look at this little church-looking building here. A monastery. It's just a pretty simple dungeon, I suppose. Open up this spell book. Oh, we get 2 Mistmoon Griffins here. Tag the second one to sell. Gerard's Wisdom. Peacekeeper. Oh goodness, is this gonna be all either Mirage Block or just Weatherlight itself? Yeah, Peacekeeper, this is a potentially pretty strong card, because you can just lock combat down for the low price and make sure you can pay 2 mana every turn. Banalish Knight. A 2/2 with First Strike and Flash for 3 mana. Back in the day, that was a good rate, actually. Duskrider Falcon. It's a 2 mana 1/1 with 2 forms of evasion. Got flying and protection from black. Okay. Kithkin Armor. Enchanted creature cannot be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. Sack it to prevent all damage to enchanted creature from one source. Banalish Infantry. 3 mana 1/3 with banding. Ew, banding. Ugh, I don't want to think about that. Yeah, I got 2 of them. Cool. This is free money. Guided Strike. I think we saw this earlier. Oh, hey, there's a second one. Banalish Missionary. And Gerard has to try to tell Tangarth to not beat the living shit out of him. A 1/1 for 1 that has an extra ability, which in the 90s, pretty alright. Target blocked creature deals no combat damage this turn. That's shockingly good, in fact. Soul Shepherd can exile creature cards in your graveyard to get you life. But yeah, a lot of repeats in there. So that's not necessarily going to make me the happiest, but hey. Let's see what this Tin Can Man's got going on here. Well, we've got not enough fucking mana in our hand, so we're taking the mull, and we are sending back Arbiter of Woe. As much as that is a pretty good card, it is unfortunately not the kind of pretty good card that we are really going to be able to take much advantage of. And our friendly neighborhood human has decided to play a Mistveil Plains to start with. Doesn't gain them life, so that's good. What's your deal? Maybe cast a night spell, create. Oh. Oh, that's such a dirt simple card. I do not remember that from that one set. The name of which is literally on the tip of my one brain cell. It's called Throne of Eldraine. That's right. Now, tragically, we did not draw another land, which is what we could really use right now. I could probably also stand to be playing the rest of my cards that cost a little bit more. Idyllic Grange enters the battlefield untapped. Okay, yeah, put it a +1/+1 counter. It's a permanent buff, not a temporary one, unfortunately. Okay, yeah, so Militant Angels. Get him one more 2/2 there. Alright, I'll play Timur and pass the turn. Plays the Circle of Loyalty. Costs 1 less for each knight you control. Buff. Absolutely disgusting. But we'll play Vampire Nighthawks, so that way we can have something that is in a really good defensible position here. Soon's Intervention. Seek a non-land permanent with... Okay, yeah, so let's choose one. Oh, yeah, this must be from one of the arena-only cards. So he's going to go and find a random non-land permanent with the mana value. That's fine. We'll take the damage from Auriok Steel Shaper. But we took care of his big flyer, and that's a little bit more important to me right now on some level. I'll play the Silver Smoke Ghoul. Kill the Auriok Steel Shaper. Oh, geez, I didn't even pay attention to my life total whatsoever there. That's not great. We're dead, and we got kicked out of the dungeon. If we could just not get into a fight right now, it would be real good. As I walk over to this new town and hit a loading zone. Yeah, I was gonna say don't. It seems like bigger cities have really hardy loading requirements. This will be our inn, right? Oh, nope. Let's take a look at what we've got around here. Here's some more equipment. Unfortunately, I don't know what most of those effects do, so that doesn't help me so much. Okay, what's our card here? Endbringer's Revel. Return target card from graveyard to hand. Any player may activate this ability, but only anytime they could cast a sorcery. And this, as is to be expected, all white cards. If I want stuff more in my color, I probably have to go to the black area, don't I? Y'all got an inn? Over here we've got the land shop. In case we want to buy land styles or something. I don't have the gold for that yet. Guy sells multicolor cards. Silver Quill Apprentice. Did we not pick up... Yeah, we picked up Amalia Benavides earlier, so we could have a couple of white-black cards if we wished. Cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And Bako, Death's Doorkeeper. What's your deal? Extort, tap, sack a non-spirit creature, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. It perpetually becomes a spirit, has base power and toughness 1/1, and gains... You may pay a white-black hybrid rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Okay, then. Interesting, but also not our guy. Okay, so that dude'll... We can build a card according to... Well, find a card according to certain parameters, basically. Interesting. But unfortunately, I am nowhere near rich enough for that. And to be fair, the guy I was looking at there for a second was Hope of Girapur, which is probably not what I actually would want as a colorless commander that I was looking for. I think Zhuladak might be the guy that I want. I think that's the pronunciation. Zhuladak Void Gorger. Costs 5 and a colorless. He's a legendary Eldrazi. 7/4. Creature. Colorless spells you cast from your hand with mana value 7 or greater have 2 Cascade instances on them. Yeah, let's dump some of that stuff. I was gonna say, now go in here and make sure that we still have the one each of, well, Banalish Missionary was the main one that I saw that I tagged. I actually don't things that so. But hopefully it does cover that at least. Oh right, this Gomafada Vanguard is a alchemy version. So it's using the updated card text for some reason. Why are some of the cards listed as having no value? What the hell? Is it because they're from the Jumpstart set, especially any ones that are like they're just ones that aren't in the other set, aren't in the main set? Don't know what the deal is there. Is not the one expecting it to be on Discord. So it's no good. That's no good. Let's go back to walking into the place by. Whoops. Anyway, for the most part, I just want to go back to the central area because I think that would be easier. But there is a dungeon for us to poke around in. And just a random dog. I thought it was a cat for a second. Just a random cat that we can fight here. This'll do. I'd rather have better cards? Yes, obviously, but well then this'll do. Yeah, this patchwork banner is not even gonna very good of a buffer here. So I'm going to use it for probably the worst possible thing I can do with it and just be like, okay, I'm literally just using this to give Timrit +1/+1. But I'm in such a position where it's just like, well, I gotta use my cards for something. And my draws are not looking amazing, other than I'm steadily ramping into things. Hey, Retro. Look at this guy and all of his dogs that he's dropping onto the board here. Play that command again. And auto tap for Yargle. Now, if you feel like double blocking that, that's fine, dude. And he did. That's fine also. Champion of Airshins, Dog Warrior. Yeah, so I see that that's his thing, is that he just plays Dog's Typle. Excuse me. I'll play our Troll of Khazad-dûm here. Put that really large boy onto the field. Single blocking both of our, but Gargle is actually going to die as opposed to Timurit, who is just taking 1 damage. Granted, I don't really think Timurit could be broken through, so unless you just like massively polyblocked it. So I guess fair enough is what I'm saying here. I will go right ahead and sack Timurit in order to play the Arbiter of Woe. And we steal 2 life and sort of steal a card from the guy. It doesn't really work that way in the same sense, but, you know. Sephiroth's Intervention can stay on top of the library. Oh yeah, needs to actually let the priority pass. Play Burglar Rat. And my auto taps have ruined me once again. Classic. Alright, and the big beefy troll is going to get to do some business here. Just takes down 3 dogs in 1 fell swoop. Alright. Good enough for me, I guess. Ah, yes, Tarkir Duneshaper. And you have no way of well, yeah, just pay the 4 life and pay the 2 life rather, and the 4 mana. Yep. Easy enough. Oh, don't forget about your cards. Oh, I think we're pulling 2 Itamar. No, it's just that this one is a little bit darkened out for some reason. So, whatever I was saying before, I'm a freaking buffoon, I guess. You get a little bit of change. Get that Spirited Companion, that Alpine Watchdog we saw. That's just a generic 2/2 with Vigilance. Isamaru, who is kind of infamous and has been for a little bit of just being a very high, good value for like a 2/2 for 1 as a legendary creature. It doesn't do anything. And lastly, we get Moonring Island. Enters tapped. If you control 2 or more blue permanents, you can pay a blue and tap it to look at the top card of target player's library. You can't do anything with it, but you get information, so that's probably good. Are in a or camp. Can we get at any of the items here, or is this going to be... This is going to be kind of tough to pull that off, right? Putting it nicely. Yeah, because I'm really not luring this bear anywhere that I'm going to be able to, like, sneak around it. Okay, let's fight the bear. Daw, bear. 2 lands to start with. This is actually more than good enough for me. And again, never punished. Except for when I frequently am. I should stop saying it. Oh god, they have a... You have an unknown event test card. The Bear Force Pilot. When it enters the battlefield, create a colorless artifact vehicle token with flying. This creature gets +1/+1 for each bear you control. 2. Amazing. Alright, drop that Arcane Signet. And we'll also play Vengeful Blood Witch. Now move to combat. Swing for 2. Last turn. Plays Vivian's Grizzly. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature or planeswalker card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Don't put the card into... Put it at the bottom of your library. Interesting. Anyway, I'll just take the 2. That's fine. Next turn. Pay 2 for that thing. And pay 3 for Morbid Opportunist. Yeah, nothing happens there. That was not really the best use of my resources. Oops. Spirit of the Alderguard. Enters, search your library for a snow land card, reveal it. It gets +1/+0 for each other snow permanent. Okay, yeah, so it's a 3/3 until, right? Fine. Play Infestation Sage. Oh, that's gonna be big. Alright, drop Gary and deal 7 life from the guy. Pass the turn. As he makes his bear into attack as a vehicle. Alright, declare blocker. Oh, right, because it flies. Right. I forgot that part. Oops. Play the Realm of Ko, and I guess we're dropping yet another Avatar card because we are going to play the Fire Nation Drill. Alright, now, we will blow up Vivian's Grizzly, I suppose. Any of them will do, but that's the one I went with. And we draw a card off of Morbid Opportunist. Now I get to play Vampire Gormon, so I have another creature available to us. Now, since it won't really matter if he just swings with that thing again, I'm going to just go in. And yeah, you block 1 creature, Spirit of the Alderguard. Who cares, really, dude? X some life. But you're only at 3 life. Only at 4 life part. Only at 5 life. Oh, I didn't see you played another Sapstip Forest. Pristine Champion. And it can turn into a bear. I see. Barely contain my something or other here. And cast Yargle. And crew it by tapping Yargle. Alright, we will sack Infestation Sage. And yeah, all that stuff happens. That's fine. Create an insect token. Deal 1 life. Draw a card. And of course, the drill gets blocked all to hell. Now, I don't think that this is going to actually work the way I want it to. Hard to trample. Yeah, so only the Vampire Gormon got through, and unfortunately our drill died, but that's okay. These things happen. I unfortunately do not have enough to take the win off of Ob Nixilis. But we'll cast Profane Insight. 3 mana we do have. We did a link. Okay. Copper Host Crusher. Ooh, that's a big creature. It counts as a bear for some reason. Isn't that fun? Play that. And auto-cast Obnic... auto-pay to cast Obnic Hate Twisted. Oh, I can't target his big boy. That's unfortunate. Auto-resolve. Morbid Opportunist, giving me a card just in case this guy doesn't die somehow. But we get a pretty fun array of things. Ooh, Grisly Fate. That's a fun name for a card, really. There's just an area here that I didn't know we had to explore. Okay. Interesting, but I think I can deal with it. Find ourselves a walking zombie. This guy is probably in black, so Commander's Plate is not going to give us a whole lot of help here, unfortunately. But if we are able to equip it onto Timurit, or really onto any creature, that is still a pretty beefy bit of business. Is Severed Legion. Oh, it's just a 2/2 here. As I get to sit here drawing all of my 3-drops as though I'm being mocked very pointedly. Target player puts X, creates X -1, creates X 2/2 black zombie. It's my rolls. Oh, you suck, man. Graph Harvest, Zombies, Menace. Yeah, I can't do that right now. I'm just drawing complete crap here. Is my biggest sticking point. Draw me a land. You can, in fact, draw me a land. Thank goodness. Well, I'll play Foulmire Knight, and I'll take only the one. Dread Wanderer enters tapped. Pay 3 to return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only as a sorcery and only with 1 or fewer cards in hand. I gotcha. All right, we'll cast that. Oh. I was not expecting a resub. Thank you, Mark.
6 years, wow.
Almost 6 years. Yes, I've been doing this for a very significant length of time, to put it nicely. How are you? I hope you're doing all right. I'm going to actually swing in with Timurate here because we're in a position where this thing can't die. Even if he, like, multi-blocks it all to hell and back, I'll just have to continue to be safe or something. Play Relic of Legends and get ourselves a little bit more of a mana source here. Not great. He had chicken cheesesteak for you know, sometimes you gotta take the small bits of stuff. You take what you can get or something like that. We're gonna stay in the position that we're in field-wise here. The Stuart Copeland... I did see that, yes. I didn't think he would, you know, get bad, you know? What's the word I'm trying to say here? You understand what I'm saying, though. I figured he would stay talented. And again, I'm very glad to see that he is that much into... Yes, there we go. That his skills did not degrade. Unfortunately, my ability to use words in the moment, which was never good to begin with, has somehow managed to simply get worse over time. I'd say I don't know how that happened, but I know exactly how that happened. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and have played this badly, so... Yeah, just select those automatically for me, game. Oh, not that guy. Like that, and since I still have some Death Touch creatures up, I'm going to swing in with the Vampire Nighthawk to get a little bit of life back. Yeah, absolutely. And on top of that, just as well, I like that he's gone so much into oh my god, I'm sorry. I just like the fact that he's giving some attention to that part of the catalog, that he's not just looking over at the soundtracks that he made for Spyro the Dragon. Listen, perhaps I'm still in this, like, headspace where I think a lot of people don't take video games seriously as a medium. And perhaps there's a pretty good reason for that. I mean, have you... have you looked at the fact that they kind of don't a lot of the time? Because they're trying to don't a lot of the time, but... I digress. Yeah, they're... Gee, if anybody has an immediate claim to being the worst about that. Yeah, that'll be the CEOs. I'm taking that shit the least seriously, and it's deeply upsetting. And maybe that's my problem, is that I'm just constantly upset or something. But we dealt with that guy fairly well. Sarcomancy, we saw a lot of this during Jamura Edition. It creates a pretty cheap creature, but if you don't have zombies during your upkeep, well, if there's none in play, so if your opponent has them, you're safe, but you'll start taking damage from it. But again, put yourself in the headspace of 1998. That's good value. A little bit of money. This thing. This guy that we didn't see with the rather complicated looking leveler layout. I don't think they've printed any cards that use this in over 5 years, possibly verging on 10 years. And almost none of them... Wait, no, there was the one in... He was in one of the Modern Horizon sets, so... They printed like one in the last 5 to 10 years. And for reasons, it's like you look at this and your brain does sort of switch off a little bit. But you pay mana, you put counters on it, and the more counters you go to the next set of stats, and it gains the abilities depending on its level. And Graph Harvest, which gives zombies menace. Unfortunately, our deck is not really full enough of zombies to make any of those zombie cards very good. We have plenty of zombies, but that's just because we're in mono black, which means they just kind of happen anyway. It's just sort of a thing that happens to you by accident. You'd have to try to have a mono black deck across this wide of a swath of time period of card releases too, with 0 zombies in it. Remake of Little Nemo and Slumberland came out this week. I did not know about that at all. Interesting. That's pretty neat. Granted, I don't keep up as well with a lot of video game news as I perhaps, air quotes, should. But also, looking at video game news is often just kind of a bummer. Let's be honest here. Oh, nice. And yes, indeed, the public domain is an excellent thing. Oh, hey, Unworthy Dead. I guess I can put a little bit of trivia about this card because I do actually know the art for this was edited in some regions. Those regions very specifically being China because of rules they have surrounding depictions of skeletons. Yes, even in the late 90s, they were releasing some of these cards in China, which feels like a little bit of a shock on some level. Like, I don't know that I would have expected that to happen that early on, I guess. Hard to explain that on some level, but... Okay, yeah, I can actually use that at any time, so I'm going to wait to do that. Because in case this guy gets a little bit saucy, I can use that as a blocker. And then activate the ability. But, seeing as how he did not, we'll grab those 2 swamps and get ourselves ahead a little bit here. How much mana do we have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8. We can do a lot this turn. We have 8. This autocast for that thing. And in fact, auto pay for that as well. Now, we have the City's Blessing, which we earned because we have 10 total permanents on the battlefield. And we can equip this thing to our boss here. So when we move to combat, we will attack with him. And it will give all of our creatures a nice little permanent buff. You'll love to see it. As our opponent kind of has to go, wait a second, now what? Which is an entirely fair response, really. And then we drop Ob Nixilis. This Doomblade is doing absolutely nothing for us, by the way. All of his creatures are black. We can't target anything with this. In fact, if we try to click on it, it does nothing. I don't know if that's picking up, but I'm assuming it is. But yeah, I'm attempting to click on it. There's literally no legal targets. We actually cannot play that. It happens occasionally. I just kind of think it's funny that we hit that point. Okay, cool. I'm not always sure how well anything like that picks up. Unfortunately, sacrificing our Mind Stone did not actually get us anything very useful. Well, just well. So this guy's hand is empty. Blood Scrivener will not double activate, but it's better to leave it there. However, I am going to swing in with Timurit and get ourselves a nice big boost. And, oh, he is throwing quite the brigade at us that collectively absolutely do not have enough power to stop this guy. But he can regenerate a creature. And I don't know which one it is. I'm assuming it's this one. Now, Blood Artist thankfully activates on opponent's creatures as well. So we do have to target our opponent for each of these, which is like slightly, I kind of wish it would automate that. There was a revision of it that changed the wording to target opponent, but whatever. At that point, that's just me complaining about the fact that I don't get to be as lazy as I'd like to. Let's take a look at what we got in our little drop pool here. We got Necrotog. We can exile the top creature card in our graveyard to give it +2/+2 until end of turn. I mentioned this before. You cannot legally reorder your graveyard in Magic, but the incidence of that mattering is very rare. They haven't printed a card that cares about your graveyard order since 1997. Unfortunately, because those cards are still legal in formats like Legacy and Vintage, even though I think nobody would ever play except for like one of those. So it still is kind of just sitting in the rules as a just in case someone decides to do this sort of thing. Because of this rather goofy idea that they had before. They try to avoid doing anything that references it nowadays, or anything that really tends to track events because of memory issues. So, yeah, thank goodness you don't have to think about that if you stick to, like, Modern and Standard. So, my advice, if you are an incoming Magic player, and you got, like, a big box of old cards, don't even think about any formats that are like, hell, don't even go to Commander, because I'll be the person who shows up with cards like that. Okay, maybe not, but still. Liliana's Scorn. Destroy target creature. You may search your library and or graveyard for a card named Liliana Deathmage. Oh, right. This is one of the intro pack rares, because they, for a while, had what were called Planeswalker decks for their pre-constructed deck, which would have a unique and typically very underpowered Planeswalker card in them. You know, because they were really pushing these characters quite heavily for all of the people who are actually that deeply invested into Magic lore. I mean, I actually kind of like the MTG story quite a bit. and most of the characters, at least certain parts of it. But I don't think there's that many people who care. But also, I do kind of think that Wizards of the Coast is really fucking up when it comes to how they utilize it. So, yeah. So they'd have those on there as like the big advertisements of, hey, look at these characters you really do not actually know that well. It was a choice, all right. Filth. This incarnation creature has a good effect only when it's in the graveyard, and it gives all of your creatures Swamp Walk, provided you control a swamp and it's in the graveyard. Actually, kind of good. You just have to get it into your graveyard, which is not that hard, depending on what you build. Plumb the Forbidden. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may sacrifice one or more creatures. When you do, copy the spell for each creature sacrificed. This way, you draw one card and lose one life. That is something that you could get quite reckless with, but it is a good, like, wide-reaching sacrifice outlet if you need one of those. Plus, lots of cards. Bellowing Settlebrute. God, Khans of Tarkir creatures were quite bad too, weren't they? 4/5 is technically above rate for only 4, but you had to attack with it on that turn or you lose 4 life. Ugh. That is what you might politely call underwhelming. Got this bug with an unusual pattern on it. Pick up some more shards and a treasure chest with some... Hopefully... Oh, this is actually a good card compared to some things we've been seeing here. Agent of the Fates. 3/2 with Death Touch. And whenever you cast a spell that targets it, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Do a lot with this. This is probably not considered to be an amazing card just by virtue of the fact that, like, being able to keep the engine running is a lot of cards. But aside from that, not bad at all. Infernal Sovereign. Oh. A mythic. All right. 6/6 demon for 6 mana. Yeah, fittingly. Flying and Trample. Skip your draw step. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Oh, boy. Now, if I could just keep the life total up. Otherwise, I would play this, but it would absolutely get me killed. I would die from its own effect at some point. I'm keeping it for a while, though, anyway. Bloodright Invoker. It's a 3/1 for 3. Pay 8 mana to steal 3 life from an opponent. That sounds like shit, but you have to keep in mind that this is completely repeatable, and you don't even have to tap it for that. The Invoker creatures in Rise of the Eldrazi were quite good in ROE Limited. Although I admit, I'm pretty sure that a big part of that is because ROE was just like the Battleship Magic set. Everything was absolutely huge. And games would very easily get to a point where it's like, well, I'm playing my 12 mana cards consistently. Tormented Pariah is a 3/2 werewolf, which turns into an actual wolf form if no spells were cast last turn, which is a 6/4. These things are a pain in the butt to use, and this is just not worth the effort, really. Moonrise Cleric. Oh, you're from Bloomburrow, so you're probably actually a good creature. 3 mana, and 2 of it can be either white or black, and one of them is completely generic. Flying, and whenever it attacks, you gain 1 life. I mean, again, for a common, pretty good. Probably works nicely with the correct typal synergies for bats, and probably for clerics too, but there's not quite as many... There's definitely not as many support for that in Bloomburrow as... But I think that cleric support in any color other than pure white is kind of rare. I don't remember. Did you just... Oh yeah, Verdant Catacombs, so you took a life yourself there. Zeotora's Proving Ground. Yeah, you got 2 of these. 3 color, enter tapped. These are great lands, by the way. I wish they would reprint the New Capenna hideouts and the Ikoria triomes. But Wizards of the Coast still has not done that yet because they're cowards or something. I don't know. A random land card from your library into your graveyard. Interesting. I actually don't think I need that part of the field up right now, so go back to hiding it, I guess. Play that and pass the turn, because I don't feel like dealing with that. A Bayou. Oh, boy. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see the... We're probably not going to be finding those lands for ourselves unless we win them from certain enemies that have them as their part of their default deck, are we? Oh. We play the Chupacabra. And we'll just eat that spider, which, of course, is absolutely what it would prefer to do as opposed to a goat or something, right? Look, times are hard for all of us. Even the Chupacabra. Apparently. And you know what? Sure. Dockside Chef, you have your 0 mana haste. That way you can swing in for 1 extra damage against this spider. And our friend tutors up another Zeotora's Proving Grounds. I'm kind of curious as to what cards this deck contains, but not curious enough to actually stick around to find out. Yep. You got a Farseek, 2 Farseeks, and an Alchemy. Yeah, this must have been a card from the original Kaldheim. Skemfar Elderhall. Enters tapped. Taps for a green. Pay 1, 2 black, and a green. That's quite a strange mana cost. And sacrifice it. Up to 1 target creature you don't control gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Create 2 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. Activate only as a sorcery. Gotcha. Unfortunately, you can't do that as a combat trick, but oh well. You get to fight this Yeti, who has less HP than the spider did. Oh, why not? And I see that you're playing mostly Teamer. Got ooh, all right, that's a fun card to see again. Scred deals damage to target creature equal to the number of snow permanents you control. This thing used to be an absolute bastard of a removal spell for just a brief period of Magic's history because of how incredibly efficient it is. So we'll play that guy. Pilfering Hawk. Yeah, pay 1 snow mana and tap it to draw a card, then discard a card. Gotcha. That's about the sort of thing that I would really expect to be in any snow-oriented set, which Kaldheim had a pretty good amount of that going on. Well, I suppose this guy is going to keep eating all of my creatures as I go. The least I could have going for me is that I'm chipping away at his life total as I get my entire party mauled here. Mountain Yeti. Got mountain walking protection from white. Was that an Ice Age card? It's using the Masters Edition symbol, which is throwing me off a little bit. But yeah, gives it benefits against 2 colors that we are not. So, okay. And then we'll play Sothera the Super Void. You enjoy this card. Well, play your removal at your own risk now, buddy. I mean, honestly, you probably should have in the first place, but I digress. He plays another Yeti. I really would love to actually just build a deck that is basically just a huge amount of Yetis. But unfortunately, I don't think there's enough of them in Magic yet to really make that a viable strategy. Withering Torment. Do I actually want to bother with this right now? The answer, I think, no. But play Ob Nixilis and yeah, you know what, guy? Go ahead and draw some cards and take some damage for that. Just to get rid of his flying creature. Snow Devil. Enchanted creature has flying, has strikes on blocking. Ooh. I'm not so happy about that, but I guess it's maybe to be expected once in a while. I wish I could throw one of my creatures at it to block, but unfortunately, no. Yeah, I've got 8, so I should be able to play Gary and then play the removal spell on his big flying Dorcas. Actually, I can do one better. I can blow up my own Gary and kill him through Vindictive Vampire triggers. And whatever the other one was called, I forgot already. Vindictive Blood Witch or something. We have Volatile Fjord. I don't think we saw this one per se, but it's pretty similar to the other 2-type Snowland. It's just got 2 basic land types and enters tapped and counts as a Snowland. Overall, this style of land, out of all of the tap land cycles that have come out in recent years, I think this one is probably my favorite. Just very straightforward. And it has a lot of very useful elements to it. For example, the fact that you can search for them with a lot of cards because they have those basic land types installed. Tundra Fumarole. Oh man, look at all the snow cards here. Deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Add 1 colorless for each snow mana spent to cast this spell. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. A little bit of cash. Rhinewood Falls. That is one that we did actually see. Frostbite. Oh, I get it. 2 damage to a non-player target. If you control 3 or more snow permanents, deals 3 instead. Great pun in the flavor text, too. Wow. Incredible. Icehide Troll. It's +2/+0 and gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it for 2 snow mana. Cool. I like the snow mechanics at least a little bit. Or maybe it's just that I'm so unimaginably old. I say as I'm probably still the youngest person in this room, basically, or damn near. Actually, I think Mark is a little bit younger than me. But I kind of remember when Ice Age was, like, not new, but not old yet. Like, it came out in 95, I think. And I remember when those cards were still quite available, so I look over the snow mechanic, and I'm just kind of like, It's nice to see that because it's almost a form of nostalgia. It's slightly too early, but close enough. Corpse Dance. Yes, here is one of the cards that actually gives a shit about Graveyard Order that I think gets played. Costs 3 mana, and you can pay 2 mana to return it to your hand as part of the resolution. Put the top creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield. That creature has haste this turn, and exile it at end of turn. So, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty solid reanimation effect for 1 turn. But again, it does care about your graveyard orders, so I'm glad we'll never see that reprinted. Tireless Tracker. 3-2 for 3. Again, this was Shadows over Innistrad, and Shadows over Innistrad was a very weak set, if I recall correctly. So, this is a really good creature for, this is pretty good value. Land enters under your control, Investigate, which creates a clue token that you can sacrifice for 2 mana to draw a card. And whenever you sacrifice a clue, it gets a +1/+1 counter. So, yeah, pretty decent. Foot Headquarters. Yeah, it's a Ninja Turtles card. Don't look at it too long. Sickle Ripper. 2/1 with Wither. Yeah, it just leaves a permanent debuff on your opponent's creatures when you kill them. Or attack, block them, whatever. I guess when you kill them, but then they're dead, so who cares? Whenever you cast a spell that targets a Crow and Linebreaker, it gets +2/+0 and gains Intimidate until end of turn. So it cannot be blocked by creatures that are not red or artifact creatures. Red has some targeted creature buffs, so that can be pretty strong. But more interestingly, we've got one of these. Oh, quite a mix we've got going on here. Scab Goliath. I seem to recall people thinking this card was pretty good, but nowadays, you could just get a 6 mana, 6/9, nice, with Trample for no extra cost. Master Warcraft. Pay 2 colorless and 2 either red or white, your choice for each of those. Cast only when attackers are declared. You choose which creatures are attacked. Before attackers are declared, pardon me. You choose which creatures attack this turn, and you choose how each creature blocks this turn. You just hijack an entire combat phase for 4 mana. This can be kind of fun in like bigger multiplayer games to just really mess with people. I've used it for purposes like that occasionally. It's all right, but in that case, that's like, hey, you've got to play both red and white in your commander. Ugh. Usually you're not doing that. Rampaging Baloths. 6/6 for 6 mana with Trample. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. This is incredible value. This thing drops a lot of bodies on the board. And back in the day when this came out, this was a pretty sought-after card. Because you could very easily, especially, this was Zendikar when this came out, so this was when the fetch lands, like that Verdant Catacomb that we saw, there's a cycle of those for all 5 enemy color pairs. So basically, they count as 2 land drops for landfall effects. You could definitely ramp up to 6 before you would stop playing lands or stop casting spells in green. So you could use this to just like build a board pretty nicely and then overrun on like a turn or 2 later and just run somebody over. It's another Magic Online promo printing. It's Sphinx of the Second Sun. Oh, this card apparently confuses the hell out of people. Let me take a sip here. It's 8 mana for a 6/6 flyer. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, there is an additional beginning phase after this step. After this phase, pardon me. So, I think for some reason, like, people were really befuddled about this because I think they assumed that it was like the new phase comes in, time for you to untap and everything to cast stuff for your post-combat main phase. No. This is afterwards. So you're basically prepping all that stuff for starting in the end phase and for doing shit during your opponent's turn. Which kind of suits blue a little bit better, since it's usually the more reactive color combo. Bitter Revelation. 4 mana sorcery. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put 2 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. You lose 2 life. Yeah, it's just another Sign in Blood variant. Prying Eyes. Draw 4 cards and discard 2 cards. 6 mana, but it's instant speed, so it's okay for it to suck a little bit more. Universal Solvent. 1 mana for an artifact that you can pay 7 and tap to destroy target permanent. Pay 7 colorless. Pay 7 generic mana to destroy target permanent has sort of become this standard, I think, in terms of value. Especially for common cards. Ooh, Farhaven Elf. This is one that I like quite a bit. It's just a standard 3 mana 1/1 that gets you a land when it comes into play. But being an elf, it tends to be pretty strong because elves are a really heavily supported creature type. Fact or fiction. Oh, don't look at the art, though. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 face-up piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. I wonder how the AI deals with this, just in general, because I've never seen this used in any of the couple of Magic video games that I've played over the years. But this is a very famous card. This used to be like you'd play it at the end of a turn and you'd get opponents who would just like scoop in response to it. Because it's usually just like, well, this is a decision where there's no right answer whatsoever. Beast Within. Another very popular card, especially for Commander. It's a very simple green spell. Destroy target permanent. Its controller puts a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield. Incredible amounts of flexibility with this one. They made a white version of it recently, too, which is also quite good. Evolving Wilds. Yeah, just... one sec. One of the more commonly seen... There's a couple of cards that just literally just do this. You just tap it, sacrifice it, and go find a basic land to replace it. Dirt simple. Great thing in limited formats to make multicolor decks a little bit more playable. Workshop Assistant. When it dies, return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. Boros Guildgate. I think we saw that earlier, but you pretty much know what that does. You can see what colors the... You can presumably see what colors the text box is. And we've seen the basics of how the guild gates work. Peel from Reality. Return target creature you control and target creature you don't control to their owner's hands. You might think that's pretty bad when Unsummon exists and it's just any one target creature for 1 blue mana. This is useful for decks where you would want to bounce your own creatures for combo purposes. Renegade Tactics. Target creature can't block this turn and draw a card. Very nice. I mean, just something that replaces itself for red. I mean, just making 1 target creature unable to block is not super helpful, but the replacement factor there is pretty good. Plus, only 1 mana, so, you know, beefs your storm count pretty easily. Rummaging Goblin. Discard a card. Tap it and discard a card to draw a card. So, blue has a thing that you see a lot where it's tap something, draw a card, then discard a card. Red does it the other way around, and typically it's part of the cost, as you can see here. You can't do this from an empty hand, unfortunately. But, hey, if it weren't for that, if it weren't for my horse, I don't know where I'm going with this anymore. As I just heard sort of a weird noise there. I unfortunately cannot go in the water there. I probably still won't be able to after I fight this water elemental, but here's hoping. We're going first. Our hand is good enough for me. It's got plenty of removal. So, off we go. Attack Boomerang. No, that's actually going to go straight to my hand. I'm okay with putting that thing in my hand. Play that. Auto pay for our Soul Ring, and the reason why is because then we don't get another commander tax. For anyone who's like, huh? Why does it matter? It's because I don't want to pay my taxes, apparently. Listen, the US government can kiss my ass. Wait. What are real deals? Rear deals damage to deals combat damage to a player. I don't know if heard. Right, this is a yet another digital only card, so it does weird stuff like that. Okay, yes, I'll play the Fire Nation drill. And the way that that is handled in game for the tapping is a little bit funny. But hey. Thankfully for us, this guy is playing creatures so slowly that we're able to just do stuff like this. Alright, crew it. We don't even have to use a creature that's been on the battlefield for a turn. That guy was quite easy, and I'm grateful for that. So let's take a look at what we get here. Take Possession. 7 mana for this effect. There was already a 6 mana steal target permanent card a couple of sets prior to this, but they tacked on a little extra mana, I guess, to take advantage of split second, so your opponent can't counter it, but otherwise that does seem a little bit expensive for what it does. Oh well. This art definitely looks a little bit more like a zombification effect on some weird level than taking possession, but all of the split second cards in the time spiral block had this sort of thing going on with the art where it was basically 2 scenes divided by a rift to sort of signify, hey, here's a very quick thing that's happening on some level. But yeah, that one I don't know if it works as well as it probably would like to. Cavalier of Gales. I do not remember what this does, but this is part of a cycle. There was one for every color in M20. It's a 5 mana 5/5 with flying. When it enters, draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. When it dies, shuffle it into its owner's library, then scry 2. Pretty alright, actually. If I was playing mono blue, that would be a good creature for me to use. Subtlety. This one would be even better, though. It's a 4 mana creature. It's a 3/3 with flash and flying, so you can cast it as an instant. When it enters, choose up to 1 target creature spell or planeswalker spell. Its opponent puts it on the top or bottom of their library. But here's the real kicker. No, sorry, it's evoke, actually. You can evoke it by exiling a blue card from your hand. Evoke means that as soon as it enters, it dies. But you still get the enter trigger, so you get it as basically a 0 mana counter spell for creatures and planeswalkers only. Now, there are other cards that do that, and I think everybody who knows anything about Magic is like, oh my god, that's fucking broken. And they've made yet another one for some reason. Wizards of the Coast, are you okay? Oh, right. And there's Boomerang, we saw that. 2 mana to return target permanent to its owner's hand. That's any permanent, so Boomerang, or as I like to call it, Blue Sinkhole. Not literally, but like, And you might be going, oh, well, the land goes back to their hand. Well, guess what, bozo? When you cast Sinkhole, they usually get another land too. It's called drawing it. Or just having it in the hand in the first place. Anyway. It's kind of gross, is what I'm saying. And I am not surprised that this card hasn't made a return in over 10 years again. Cloudkin Seer. This is a... Yeah, this is pretty simple. I think this is something that I played when I tried to play Arena and got to such a point where I just became very upset. 3 mana, 2/1 with flying that draws you a card when it enters. Dirt simple. Water Elemental. It's a 5 mana, 5/4 that doesn't do anything special. Nice art, though. God, I love the look of old Magic card art. Although putting it on the new frame is so weird. Thanks a lot, 30th Anniversary Edition. Oh, if only that was a thing that was, like, available to real human beings and didn't literally cost $1,000 at MSRP. I might have considered trying to get one of those. But unfortunately, Wizards of the Coast, just like every other game company, really only cares about the whales. Tomorrow, Azami's Familiar. That's a frog. Oh, partially a frog. 6 mana, 1/5. Yeah, every creature in Kamigawa block felt really understated. If you would draw a card, look at the top 3 cards of your library instead. Put one of those cards into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. One interesting thing with this is that if you have no cards in your library, you won't deck yourself. You'll just look at nothing. So, it saves you from mill. Yeah, I still don't think this is very playable. Unstable Shapeshifter. So this is the funky clone for the Tempest block that suits Wrath being a very weird and kind of gnarly artificial plane too. 4 mana for a 0/1. Whenever any creature comes into play, Unstable Shapeshifter permanently becomes a copy of that creature and retains this ability. So basically it just changes into everything as it comes in. Interesting. Thanks a lot, dude. Let's fight this monstrous leech. Yeah, I didn't know what that was at first. Thought it was some sort of snake creature. 2 mana? 2 mana is good enough to get started. I have a feeling that Doomblade is not going to be playable in this fight. Because I'm assuming that I'm facing an opponent who plays a lot of creatures that are at least black, if not anything else. Sign. Return to its owner's hand. No, that's getting bounced. Double check this. Consign to Oblivion. Turn target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Interestingly, this is an Aftermath card where both sides of it are actually at the normal cost instead of one or more of them being wildly overpriced. Because, oh my goodness, that is a common thing to deal with. Oh, boo. This guy's doing a lot of that bullshit, huh? Play that. Uchilan. Yeah, okay. I was quite correct when I said that Doomblade wasn't going to do shit for us, because I see he's got a big creature in mono black here. Uchilan's power is equal to the number of crabs, oozes, and or horrors you control. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target creature from an opponent's graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Uchilan. God, I knew it was going to create something, but it copies itself, so it has a snowballing effect. Oh. Oh, Lord. I don't like that at all. Good thing we're going to bump that thing off right now. Get the hell out of here. Mind Slicer. Guys, each player discards their hand. Okay, so I cannot remove that right now. Good to know. I guess I'll just end turn. Would you stop that? And he hits me for 4. Gross. 7. Alright. Autocast Timur and Ob Nixilis can come into play here as well. And to be perfectly honest with you, he's just going to be there to soak some damage. I'm not even going to meddle with Mind Slicer there. Blizzard Spectre. They can and or auto that thing out, and it kills the Mana War. Yeah, so we'll tap the drill, and we will take out the Blizzard Spectre. And now we can safely block in case our guy decides to target Ob Nixilis for an attack. And there was no such a thing going on. So we'll play the Stinkweed Imp. And empower our drill. Swing with that. Yeah, that's fine, dude. That's all right. 3. And I lose my drill, but he's discarding his hand, so good enough. And you can sign my Ob Nixilis. That is... You didn't even play the other half of it. What was the point? Well, we got this refurbished familiar in hand. Unfortunately, yeah, we were definitely not casting that this turn. Swinging for 5. And he plays Uchalon again. Are you just sort of in a loop, my guy? Almost feels like he is. Well, draw a card. Ooh, it's Gifted Aetherborn. That is solid. And we'll crack that thing open. Go ahead and draw some more cards, buddy. Oh, sorry, am I... Well, whatever. We had enough damage on the board anyway. I wasn't doing my math, so I didn't notice. Lord of Karfell. Yeah, this is another one of the 2-color Kaldheim lands, like that one that we saw earlier. This one is for blue and black with much more of a black swing than that. Costs 3, 1 blue, and 2 black to activate its ability. Sacrifice it, mill 4 cards, and return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. I mean, it's nice to have a red spell on a land, but also, ugh. Ground Catacomb enters the battlefield tapped unless you control an island or a swamp, and it just taps for a blue or a black. Pretty simple. These check lands are pretty nice. They go back all the way to about 2009, so dear God, they are closer to 20 years old than they are to 10. Mesmeric Fiend enters the battlefield. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. Exile it for as long as Mesmeric Fiend is in play. So it just steals a card. It's like The guys that the oh god, what's the... I'm gonna go look this up real quick. It's a boss in Slay the Spire that I'm thinking of. That summons the little drones on the second level. Automaton, is that the one? Of yes, because the other one is just similar machine stage 1. But yeah, it's like the drones that thing summons where they just eat a card until they die. Skull Fracture. Target player discards a card and you can flash it back for 4 mana. Seems a little overcosted, but it counts as 2 spell cast triggers? Yeah, I don't know. Hey, look, another one. Get in the sell bin. And we've got another Ravenous Chupacabra. Unfortunately, because we are playing a commander deck for this, we're not allowed to have more than 1 copy of any card in our hundreds. It'd be more bullshit and unfun than the oh my god, yeah, Lears. See, I don't really know how MTG knowledgeable you are. So if I say the words Winter Orb to you, that might not make you vomit the way that it would me, but like... we don't have that. We're... To be fair, we're playing a version of this game that has such a massive card pool that for us to actually very effectively build that sort of deck would not necessarily be the easiest thing the world has ever seen. Zone Haven F. Equipped creatures get plus you control get +1/+1. Whenever an equipped creature you control dies, draw a card. Pretty decent. There's a lot of equipment support out there in white. And I actually kind of like equipment-oriented decks. A little bit. Sometimes. Sword of the Animist. Yes, this is a pretty good one. 2 mana to equip. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you don't even have to land damage. You go search your library for a basic land card. Again, hard to argue with that, right? And so we play our drill. Not to be confused with the one that's only 4 letters long. Miria, I forget what this does. There's a cycle of 5 retreat cards in Battle for Zendikar that all have a trigger that gives you one of 2 options if you play a land. So this is creating a 1/1 white core ally creature token. Highly relevant creature type there. Or give creatures you control +1/+1. Yeah, considering it's a 4-drop, that seems kind of reasonable. Okay, autocast, auto pay. Auto, mate. And turn the big drill into a damage source for us. Put our opponent to 1 HP. So, first of all, Lone Missionary. That is a pretty decent... You know, another body on the board, plus going back up to 5 life. On the other hand, our drill can still drill through, but whatever. Fiend Lash. I do not remember this card at all. +2/+0 and has reach. Whenever equipped creature is dealt damage, it deals damage equal to its power to target player or planeswalker. I gotcha. Okay. Okily dokily. We are going to sidestep all of that by just bringing out Gary to steal an abundance of life from our opponent. I was thinking 6 at first, but that was ignoring Gary's own cost. Yeah, what a good card. Grey Merchant of Asphodel, that will win you so many games if you're especially in mono black. One of the nicer mono black uncommons that has yet been dropped. One of my favorites, but I also like having a big board. Granted, getting tokens with costs is not very easy these days. Not yet, anyway. They can eat it. Yeah, exactly. Shadow Spear. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and lifelink. Pay 1. Permanents your opponents control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, which is the other effect that drill has that we've never used yet. And costs 2 to equip. Pretty solid. A little bit of coinage. Hightsail Scout. Scoot. Molten Slag Heap. This is a storage land. Pay 1 and tap it to put a storage counter on it. On a later turn, or even the same turn, you can pay 1 and remove X storage counters from it to add X mana in any combination of those two colors. With the right setup, you can turn this into a truly ridiculous amount of mana. I don't have the right setup, though. Ooh, we got a Sacred Foundry. That makes up for the one that I had to skip out on during that draft that I didn't get to keep anyway, so. I was gonna say, where do I get all that gold that was piling up from those drops? Seems like that number isn't going up as much as I would think it would be from those pickups, but maybe I'm counting wrong. This hand will do. This'll cover our needs nicely. And our friend over there is playing Shadow Spear. So I'll play Novice Occultist and proceed. Now that Timrit is actually a decent pick here. I have literally just never used his ability the whole time that I've had him as my commander. It's kind of silly, actually. I'm a little bit buffoonish, perhaps. But I admit I've been playing this a little bit not the smartest here. But also, maybe I should be paying attention to the fact that my opponent has that much life total. And so is probably a pretty strong opponent. Ob Nixilis may make the other fella draw cards, but I'm okay with that because he gets burned for it. Armored Skyhunter and playing the Dog Collar. Whenever Armored Skyhunter attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put an aura or equipment card from among them onto the battlefield. If an equipment, you may attach it to a goal. Yeah, it has to have that because that doesn't happen with equipment. Meanwhile, to make parity with the auras, because auras by default arrive attached to other permanents. Yeah, we'll skip over that. Yeah, there's Basilisk Collar. Pretty decent. Gives you some very nice abilities on something that is reusable. Very reusable, in fact. Let's take a look here. Adeline Resplendent Cathar. Power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Whenever you attack for each opponent, create a token tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. All the Skyclaves. Enters, attach it to target creature you control. Gets +2/+2 and has flying and first strike. Damn! And what's that, a 3-drop? That is some great efficiency. That's a pretty good question, Lirs. I have no idea. So, yeah, I may in fact not be the right person to ask this time. Playing video games, I mean, I like doing it, but I never really know what games to play. Now, thank goodness that guy didn't have plays, or we just had a bunch of good removal. Well, that's one of those things where we've seen acclaimed contender. I think we saw this before, but I forget. Yeah, just nothing that really suits what we need, you know? Unfortunately, it's just the way it goes. Enters the battlefield if you control another knight. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a knight or equipment or legendary artifact from among them. Put it into your hand with the rest in the bottom of your library. Yeah. So, it replaces itself with something kind of useful, I guess. Probably. Okay, good. Actually, our gold number is advancing correctly. I wasn't sure for a while there, though. Barbed Battle Gear. Equipped creature gets +4/-1. Highly efficient. Not bad at all. Similar idea to a card called Grafted War Gear. No, I don't think Grafted War Gear gave a stat debuff. A toughness debuff. Skull Clamp did, though. But of course, they got rid of that when they created something that was a spin on that for this, for Scars of Mirrodin. Demon Spine Whip. You can use that to just dump mana into a creature's power. Dragon Throne of Tarkir. Here's a pretty interesting piece of equipment. Costs a lot to do and gives your creature defender, but you can pay to untap that creature to give all your other creatures trample and stats equal the creature's power until end of turn. Not bad at all. Are these just... Yeah, these aren't actually like usable buildings for us. They are just sort of background elements. And by that, I mean obstacles for us to be able to fumble around. But I see another treasure chest over there and another mana stone for us to pick up. Those are kind of handy. Ooh, this hand, our margins are a little tight, but we'll take it. Drop the Vengeful Blood Witch, and yeah, here's another leveler. It can turn into a flyer pretty quickly, so that is moderately unfortunate, but hey, could be worse, right? We'll drop our Darksteel Ingot, and we're not going to swing into that thing. Captain's Claws, huh? Equipped creature gets +1/+0. Whenever it attacks, create a token, tapped and attacking. Only 1 to equip it. That's pretty good. I remember really liking that card, actually, so... Just tells you how well I remember the names of any cards, though. Plus, something I feel obligated to read card text to folks. So that way they can see for any of the new stuff. Seraphic Greatsword. Whenever a equipped creature attacks a player with the most life or tied for the most life, well, guess what, buddy? That's never going to actually do anything for you. Create a 4/4 white angel line that's tapped and attacking them. Yeah, I have bad news, champ. You're probably not going to actually get that to proc at any point, because The odds of me being in that position are not super high. But we do also get to play... I'll play the Stinkweed Imp, and I'll play Anduril, which is not quite giving us City's Blessing just yet. Because we don't have enough permanents just yet. Okay, yeah, so it revealed that, I think? Or... I didn't see why that happened, but the Seraphic Greatsword gets attached to the Knight of Cliffhaven anyway, and it is currently a 5-4. You create one of those things. Alright, we do this. Oh, right, you have fake Death Touch, I forgot. So we steal a life point, and Stinkweed Imp kills something. I am not going to dredge. My ability to do stuff right now, I don't have much going on right now. So I need to establish a board presence. And we got the City's Blessing. Shit, yeah. We are actually in nice shape with that. So I'll swing in for 3. And you play Retreat to Emeria. And no thanks in the dredge. Yeah, equip that to the big boss. And everybody in. Yeah, plus they all get +2/+2. So, yeah, we definitely have lethal on board now. Excellent. Very nice. What's our pulls here? Nomad's Assembly. This, if you can get a game that goes slow enough, you can amass a big fucking army with this thing. Create a 1/1 white core soldier creature token for each creature you control plus rebound, so it recasts during your next turn's upkeep. Well, during your next upkeep, so I guess you got another one from somewhere. But there aren't a whole lot of places where you can do that, so... Darksteel Plate. Dirt simple, it's indestructible, and gives equipped creature indestructible. A little bit of gold. Memorial to Folly. Enters tap, taps for a black. Pay 3, tap, sack it. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Meh. But hey, there's Urza. Being as disappointing as ever. Stoneforge Mystic. Ooh, quite powerful card. When it enters, it tutors for an equipment, and you can pay 2 and tap it to just play an equipment from your hand. Very useful if you have some extremely expensive equipment cards. Excuse me. Basilisk Collar. You can see why I call it the dog collar now. This was the art that it was in before, and it's originally, so it's just kind of, you know, big toothy collar they attach to this bulldog. We already talked about that one, though. Sacred Foundry, yeah, we've seen those before. Pop open this treasure chest and find the Cave of Two Lovers. Oh, this is an avatar card. Grades 2, 1/1 white ally creature tokens. Allies are a creature type that typically have a theme of just amassing more of them to trigger abilities over and over. So, yeah. Search your library for a mountain or cave card, reveal it, etc. Earthbend 3, which turns a land into a creature with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. And when that land dies or is exiled, you return it as just a generic land. It doesn't stay a creature anymore. By generic, that's not correct, but anyway. Blood on the Snow. 6 mana snow sorcery. Destroy all creatures or destroy all planeswalkers. Then return a creature or planeswalker card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of snow mana spent to cast this spell. Pretty good.
type of effect that we see occasionally of board wipe and then get one creature back. Shore Snapper. It's a 2/2 that you can give Island Walk for a blue mana. Bar Shade. It is a frozen shade, but it starts with +1/+1. So 4 mana, 1/2 that you can pay a black to give +1/+1 until end of turn. Civil Servant. This one was an alchemy modified one, so 2 mana, green-white creature. When it attacks, you may tap another untapped citizen you control. If you do, it gets +1/+0 and trample until end of turn. Nice and simple. With citizens being a somewhat supported creature type. I don't know how to get to this last mana shard over here because every time I try to, I just get swept away into there. The game doesn't want to let me get it. But otherwise, we cleared this place out, which is impressive for this early on. I'm counting this dungeon as completed. So, see you later, fella. We are going to proceed our way down to this middle area, which is where I've been hoping to go this whole time. The holes. I guess they're just like a big chasm or something that you can't cross. Town is taking no small amount of time to load. And what have we got for sale here? First of all, we got some artifacts. Stuffy Doll! Yo, I love Stuffy Doll. This is a fun card. Sorry, I was doing something to a nail. 5 mana, enters play, choose a player. It's indestructible. Whenever damage is dealt to Stuffy Doll, it deals that much damage to the chosen player. And you can tap it to have it deal 1 damage to itself, which is really funny. Autonomous Assembler. 5 mana, but you can prototype. Huh. Just an interesting card in general. Hangerback Walker. Now this one. This one is... I think this one is pretty widely played. Costs double X, which sounds pretty bad, and is pretty bad on paper. Enters with X +1/+1 counters. When it dies, it splits off into that many 1/1 flyers. 1/1 flying creature tokens. You can pay 1 and tap to put a counter on it. I'm actually going to pick this up because I want to build a deck based around a completely colorless commander, if I can ever find one of those. Quite frankly, I just want to do this because it's fun. I actually did it before IRL, back before I quit Magic in 2020. In early 2020. It was probably my favorite commander deck to play. It was a lot of fun. And it was shockingly strong, considering you would think that at that point, colorless cards were only barely starting to shake their reputation for being overcosted for things that were basically suffering from them paying all generic mana for their costs. This creature enters or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, gain 1 life, and it can be cycled. I'll pass on that, though. Still cool. Walmart. It's all walls and defenders. Unfortunately, not much that is of great use to us, but Gleaming Barrier can have some value in the future. We'll pick that up. Antiquities. Ooh, yep, more artifacts. Good lord. Credit Voucher. 2, tap. Shuffle any number of cards from your hand in your graveyard, then draw that many cards. Beetlebug. Protection from artifacts and flash. Okay. Diamond Kaleidoscope. Oh, this is one incredibly crusty mana filtering device. You would have to spend a lot of work to get this thing all shored up to do anything good with it. Thought Monitor. 7 mana, affinity for artifacts, so it costs 1 less for each artifact you control. This is based off of a card that existed before this point that I've... Thoughtcast, I think, is what it's called. It's a 5 mana spell that draws 2 cards, but it gets cheaper for all the artifacts you control. So, yeah. Godpharaoh's Statue. Spells your opponents cast cost 2 more to cast. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 1 life. Yes, please! Expensive, but will be very potent at some point. Gilded Pinions. Enters the battlefield, create a treasure token, and it gives creature flying. Nice artwork, though. Kind of reminds me... I mean, maybe part of it is because I know that it's a New Capenna card, but it does make me think a little bit of Fritz Lang's Metropolis. I've never actually seen Metropolis in any of the various like forms and cuts and edits that are out there. It exists in some form, or obviously the original version is kind of not very available right now, but yeah. Okay, for a sec I thought this was literally all UB, but it's only like the top half here. And this isn't. This is... I thought this was the Fallout frame for a second, the Fallout VATS frame. No, it's the Duskmourn glitchy TV frame. For unidentified hover ship. That's right, it's a UFO. Costs 1 and 2 white for a flying 2/2 vehicle. When it enters, exile up to 1 target creature with toughness 5 or less. Leaves the battlefield. The exiled card's owner manifests dread. So they look at the top 2 cards of their library. One of them gets put face down as a 2/2 creature, and the other is thrown into the graveyard. So they don't even get the removed creature back, really. Canoptech Spider. Hey, look, it's a 40k card. I kept making 40k jokes earlier because of the guys in Abiotic Factor. 5 mana for a 4/4 spider with flying, as opposed to reach, which is what they usually get. Whenever another non-token artifact, creature, or vehicle enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Holy shit, that's nice. Search Hacker Mech. 4 mana. God, I gotta squint for that. It's a 5/5 for its vehicle stats. That has Menace. When it enters, it deals damage equal to twice the number of vehicles you control the target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls, and can be crewed for 4 power. Cybership. 6 mana, 8/8 flyer with crew 4, so it only takes 4 power to turn it into a big boy. With flying, whenever Cybership deals combat damage to a player, put the top 2 cards of that player's library onto the battlefield face down under your control. They're 2/2 Cyberman artifact creatures. Yeah, this was an effect that the Cybermen had for the Doctor Who product, which was just commander decks, where they did the thing of like face down cards are mostly 2/2 creatures, but these specified them as artifact creatures and Cybermen. So slightly interesting little adjustment there. Mech Hanger. We can use that to... Oh, we can pay 3 mana and tap it, so effectively 4 mana to make any vehicle an artifact creature until end of turn without having to do anything. Neat. Bomat Bazaar Barge. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Meh. Squadron Carrier. Spacecraft you control have exhaust. Pay a white. Conjure a card named Starfighter Pilot onto the battlefield. Well, I can't see what Starfighter Pilot does. And Station is like... I think it's tap an untapped creature you control. Put that many charge counters on the spacecraft. And you can only activate that as a sorcery. Spacecraft do not become creatures until they have enough charge counters on them as indicated by the little icon that you're still going to be able to see. Wow. So with 10 or more, it becomes a 4/4 that gives all your creatures flying. Neat. Dragonfly Pilot. 1-drop, 1/1. Enters the battlefield, conquer Dragonfly Suit. And cruise vehicles, though its power were 2 greater. So yeah, it just gets another card for you. It creates the copy, I believe. Gothy Marauder. Yo! I remember that guy from the last Magic game I played. That was a dude that we didn't actually get to play that often. Instead, it was like almost entirely about the Warlords. Thundering Broodwagon. It's reach. The vehicle enters. Destroy target non-line permanent opponent controls. Mana value for less. Yeah. Baba Zaganut. Night Witch. Sacrifice up to 3 permanents. See, what's the icon there? And are these supposed to be So is this just something that doesn't have a render anywhere? Sack up to 3 permanents. There are 3 or more card types among the sacked permanents. Each opponent loses 3 life. You gain 3 life and you draw 3 cards. Interesting. And yes, I am reading these really fast, I know. Rayhan enters with 3 counters. Whenever a creature you control dies or is put into the command zone, if it had counters on it, you can give those to a creature. Cool. Genova, Ancient Calamity. Put a number of counters equal to Genova's power and up to 1 other target creature. Whenever a mutant you control dies during your turn, you draw cards equal to its power. Yeah, this kind of got power crept in Standard pretty fast, but it was otherwise... Genova was being used quite a lot in Standard. Bitter Triumph, this is the one that we saw as we were coming in. That seems like a pretty strong removal card. I'll pick that up. Doomblade can take a hike, I guess. Nightlia's Disciple gives you life equal to your devotion to green. Searchlight Geist, I feel like I've played this before in this game. 3 mana, 2/1 with flying that can gain Death Touch for 4 mana. Ew. Mediocre. Mediocre. Alright. Get that out of here. And... okay. Right, because they're going to all just be ordered like that. CH. Alright, Store Champ. Where the hell is that card originally from, then? Anyway, let's see what else we got in town. We've got King Solomon over there. Worthy Knight we've seen before. Ayula, Queen Among Bears. The boss of all bears. There she is. Whenever another bear enters the battlefield under your control, you can either give one of your bears a permanent buff, or you can have it fight a creature you don't control. I actually built a commander deck using her back in like the late 2010s. Because I was just like, I really want to be able to put that to use because, again, of kind of nostalgia surrounding the Grizzly Bear cards. Hey, look, it's one of these chuckleheads again. Nice, Lears. I was going to say, isn't that from the Hi, I'm Daisy Persona 4 comic? That specific line? Or just one similar? Yes, okay, good. My memory has not gone completely to shit yet. Awesome. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature other than Elegant Entourage gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Seems like it'd be a nice card for if you're spamming out crap loads of creature tokens. Ah, I see. Here we've got all the fish people. All the merfolk. So you can see a couple of black and white ones, actually. Ah, I gotcha. Well, close enough. Whenever Hollow Sage becomes untapped, you may have target player discard a card. Fun. Augur of Bolus. This is a really fun card for digging a little bit Great value. I always played this one a lot when I was playing blue. Rootwater Matriarch. It's a 4-drop. You can tap it to gain control of target enchanted creature. Quite fun, but I don't think this has ever really gotten abused to the level that you would really expect it to be. Kiora, the Rising Tide. This one, I played this in Arena for a brief period, and it was quite fun. Because it can make a pretty big extra creature there. All you have to do is just dump 7 cards into your graveyard, and that happens very easily. Tap, sacrifice Rootwater Diver. Return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty useful. Medallion Mage. Oh yeah, this thing has an inbuilt ability to just force spike any spell. Completely sick. I'm glad that exists. Note, I'm not glad when I have to play against it, but I digress. 2 Anakthea here. 2 in Abzan. 4/4 with Menace. Other enchantment creatures you control have Menace. When it enters or attacks, exile up to 1 target non-aura enchantment card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 3/3 black zombie in addition to its other types. Oh, for a sec I thought there were 2 of the same Perforos. Oh, that's rough. I can't read that. But that's another demigod creature. Anax, Hardened in the Forge. Power is equal to your devotion to red. So yeah, it has toughness equal to your devotion to white, and the rest of it I don't know. Creates more tokens as your non-token creatures die. Perforos, Bronze-Blooded. This is not the Perforos I was hoping it would be. The original Perforos from the first Theros set is an absolute champion. Because whenever a creature enters when you have Perforos, God of the Forge, he deals 2 damage to each opponent. So you don't even have to attack anymore. Just play cards that shit goblins uncontrollably, and off you go. Keranos, God of Storms. Reveal the first card you draw on each of your turns. Oh yeah, you have to have a certain amount of devotion for the Theros gods to actually count as creatures. But they are indestructible. And they provide you with some pretty cool buffs. So you got that going for you at least. At the beginning of your end step, put a coin counter on another target creature. Whenever a creature with a coin counter on it dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your owner's your control. You guys remember coin counter from FF14? And then they broke his legs. Oh geez, what's going on there? I can't read that. You're kidding me. I was gonna say if I click on it, will it tell me? It will not. Sparkle and begin blocked. It gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Blocking it. Yeah, that one. And then Blue Mage showed up and just like completely obviated the mechanics every time. And then, depending on what server you're on, it's like anytime the Eyes Have It shows up, it's like, well, you may or may not be able to do anything with that. Steel Golem. 3 mana, 3/4. You cannot cast creature spells. That sounds kind of bad, and nowadays it is, but back then it was comparatively more efficient, especially for being all generic cost. Yeah, so not a whole ton of cards here that are of great use to us. What's your deal? An Apprentice Green Wizard bounty available right now if you talk to the right people. What's the deal? Okay, we gotta go find some of those apprentice green wizards and give them a good old kick in the nards. Or we could just get sidetracked and go into another random dungeon. Or we can get chased down by this guy because he moves a little bit of a tighter circling pattern than we do. And a one land hand. That's probably not going to be too good. This one, at least we have cards to play. So I will tuck Hero's Downfall and keep the hand. Play Swamp. Play Vampire of the Dire Moon. Which again just seems like a really good card because it's got plenty of abilities on it. Play Realm of Ko. And an Arcane Signet. Steal 1 life from our opponent and pass a turn. Oh yeah, that can't tap for anything but colorless mana right now. Twilight Panther, 1/2, gains Death Touch until end of turn. Alright, we'll play Andoril and pass the turn. You activated an Evolving Wilds. Okay. Dutiful Thrall. It's, yeah, nothing to write home about. Okay, we'll do that, and I'll still pass turn anyway. And I'll just take the 2 damage. Play a Sun Scourge Champion. How's it going? We've had some pretty good success today. I got beaten by only 1 person. Unfortunately, it is admittedly a little bit slower moving, and I think a large part of that is because I have to keep, like, reading new cards. The card pool is so big. Get a Big the Cat voice here. Wow, it's big. I'll pay for that. Yes, you will gladly take that damage. Well, Archangel of Wrath. Vice to target. Gotcha. Okay. Actually, I have some more land, finally. I have been ending up in a couple of positions where I've just been getting kind of hosed on mana, so that's not the nicest, but it's how it goes sometimes. I'll just take 4. That's Nomad. Ooh, it's big. And I will put that down a little bit and proceed to combat. I will, in fact, swing with both creatures. I mean, I have a feeling... Yeah, I was going to say I have a feeling things going to get double blocked. But that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Oh, right. Of course it's all damage is lethal because of Death Touch. Right. So, slightly unfortunate, but at least the important-ish thing there, the equipment doesn't go away. I'll take the 4. I'm not happy about it, but I do kind of want to try to hit City's Blessing if I can. Phyrexian Missionary. Gotcha. Duly noted. Cancel. Yeah, my problem here is that I really do not have an out to be able to actually use that thing at the same time that I would. So I'm about to die here, but yeah, especially with a board like that. I screwed up pretty badly, basically. Well, we died. It's probably not such a good idea for me to go and explore this random dungeon, but I'll do it anyway. Take a look at this cultist outpost. Can we sneak any items over here? Yeah, we can get some gold. Oh, you're not going to let me get out of here, are you? Especially not with that tiny little lip there. So that's slightly painful. Do I want to keep my hand? Do I want to keep my one lander again? It's shocking to me how many of those I've had lately. I almost said how much of those I had. That's not the correct way to do that. Not Path of Ancestry. Sorry, Command Beacon. That's the one that can go back. Keep that now. Escape purpose. Play that. First by Urzen Chi, yeah, Play that, and I'm not swinging into Ian right now. I'll take it, I guess. Zest Aven. Thank goodness we drew a card. Good. Alright, Necrotol. Get in there and eat the big guy. Catch Lightning Greaves. And I'll swing with just you. Playing Rona, Herald of Invasion. That's another thing I probably need to kill before it gets flipped over. Playing hit. On the other hand, Indulgent Tormentor. That over. Oh. And I skipped over combat as a result of me getting how many times I need to press buttons. But keeping Indulgent Tormentor safe is probably a useful thing anyway. First source deals damage to Rona, Tolarian Obliterator. That source's controller exiles a card from their hand at random. End card, you may put it onto the battlefield in control. Otherwise, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Jeez, man. Okay, fine. We'll just that. I'll go down by 2, and I will lose Fairy Dream Thief. Not particularly happy. I'm getting some pretty rough luck here. But we'll play the Vampire, and we'll play a Burglar Rat, because really the amount of things that I have to worry about here. Is this like Brawl? So I chose to play as using commander, using a commander deck, but my opponents don't do that. But what it gave me was just kind of like randomized and, if I'm being honest, kind of garbage all around. But not necessarily the worst garbage I've ever seen, but still not really what you would call an inspiring deck. Not from a stance of the mechanic by that name either, but ignore the joke. It's not very good. Another Possessed Aven. Wow, okay. Do I actually have any... I don't have enough cards in my graveyard to actually really do anything good with this, I don't think. But we'll scry anyway, so that way I can just kind of be sad about the fact that Ob Nixilis is on top of the deck, because that is the closest thing I have to a good card that could help me right. Okay, yeah, that's fine, I guess. Yeah, since we lost an... Yeah, Timrit should be going to the command zone there. But we drain a couple of life, so I think technically we're still in it for a moment or two. Oh, never mind. The Possessed Haven obviously has flying. That would make a lot of sense. So we're just kind of dead. Well, then we get kicked out of the dungeon. I'm not interested in you guys right now. Would you kindly step off? Our life is back. Now you can step on. Or something. These are our apprentice green wizards. Let's beat them up real quick, and that will be our thing that we do for the... That will be our capstone here, I guess. But Infestation Sage, that is probably a little bit more value at this point. Curse of Bounty. Ooh. We'll play that, and we will drop Timrit. What are you having there? Healing Leaves. Okay, so that's just Healing Salve, but slightly different. By which I mean it's green instead. Wow. Look at Gardener. You can tap land. Turn it into a creature that can create a lot of big dudes. Fair enough. Morbid Opportunist. Oh, Lord. Oh, that's building the dragon. Okay. Six. Which isn't really an amount that makes me particularly happy, but... You can tell the amount of Commander that I play where it's like, yeah, I'll just take attacks that don't matter. Kill off that creature, and we get a Morbid Opportunist draw, which is always fun. So we play Changeling Outcast, and we swing in for 4. Now we have enough to clear the battle. Yes. All right. Any good cards? Probably not. Giant Beaver. Thank you, game. 4 mana, 4/4 with Vigilance. If it attacks while saddled, put a counter on target creature that's saddled at this turn. Revive the Shire. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Create a food token. Wow, not only is it a common, but it power crept Regrowth. Well, wait, is Regrowth any card? Or is it just any permanent card? I think it's any permanent card. Sapseep Forest. Yeah, we saw one of those. Saw a couple of those before. And a little bit of gold. Yeah, another one of these battles. I, in fact, basically just went into full autopilot mode there of jumping more than a little bit ahead. Play Timber and pass the turn. Play Marwyn the Nurturer. Excuse me, just to play another Llanowar Elves. Play Blood Artist. And drop a Foulmire Knight. And pass the turn. Yeah, of course that was going to happen. Wait, did you just use the regular one instead of the legend? Hang on. That doesn't make any sense. That's a profoundly do. Well, whatever. Play Sathira, and I'll attack for 2, and then pass the turn. We just block Marwyn, and yeah, so we get our 2 Blood Artist triggers, and we get our Sathira trigger. So enjoy that, my friend. Why did you do any of what you just did? Glad to see the Buffoon AI is still completely in play here. I could use that swamp. Yeah, I mean, I've done some dumb shit in my time playing this so far, but I don't think between, first of all, paying the more expensive version of Blackblade Reforged ability in order to use it, and then just swinging right into the very obvious Death Touch creature that's sitting there, specifically waiting to be used for that purpose. That is a choice, all right. Oh, they just let me draw. Okay. I mean, I have the game pretty much sewn up there anyway, unless if this dude had drawn Plummet, which would at least feel on theme, but didn't happen. Llanowar Elves, the classic. Wild Onslaught. Costs 4 to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Or you can kick it for another 4 generic mana to put 2 on each creature instead. Fair enough. And a little bit of cash. Well, we beat the heck out of those guys, and we get ourselves a couple of 500 gold and 10 shards. Good enough for me. I mean, it was a very easy quest, so I don't necessarily expect the world's biggest reward ever or anything. Oh, that must be why I didn't save last time, because I didn't find a way to tell it to properly save. Very strange. Well, I guess at least it does do autosaves, so not so much to worry about there. But if next week we have to repeat a small amount of effort, well, shit happens, I guess.